Welcome back to Ball Street. We are here to do a transfer window preview with none other than Chelsea Rory. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you for having us. This is glorious.
Nice shorts.
Oh, don't start.
It's been a source of controversy in the comments lately. I can't help but I've got to talk about it briefly.
I don't quite understand it. I don't understand where the hostility comes from.
They're short.
They're short, but what are they called?
Shorts.
The clue is in the title.
Yeah, it's a heat wave in London.
It's
if you're not in
boiling.
England, so
Yeah.
Rory is somewhat excused, but apologies if this is too much.
I don't think. I mean, they're also they're less.
They're very fashionable.
They're a football friendly brand.
I'm not being paid by Leicester. No need for that. Guys, let's move on. We've got to talk about some football because, as I say, it's a transfer window preview. We're here to talk about Chelsea. A lot of our people this summer, they still haven't got a manager, Maurizio Sarri, but it looks like he could be coming in. Are you sort of happy with that appointment?
I'll be happy when it's done, but I'd be happy now with just an end to this limbo that we're in. I don't understand the uncertainty. It's what's killing us. I really don't understand it.
I mean, when he does come in, he's going to have a lot on his plate in terms of outgoings, in terms of incomings. For you, what are the main areas where Sarri should be looking to improve this squad? Is it goalkeeper, defence, midfield, attack?
Actually, we need to do something in all of those positions. I think we need one quality signing per position.
Okay, let's talk about goalkeeper first then. So you saying THIBAUT Courtois could be on his way out potentially?
Yeah, I think THIBAUT Courtois will go to Real Madrid.
It's breaking news.
No,
they're hearing it here first.
Certainly not. No, I'm not. I'm certainly not doing that. I'm just giving the way that I feel it will go. I think THIBAUT Courtois' heart lies in Madrid. His family, his young family, live there, and he has an affinity with that city. Yeah. And I don't really think he's very settled in London. I don't think that his bond with the Chelsea fans is what he'd want it to be. Right. And I just think that he has a calling to get back to Madrid, and I think that's where he'll be gone. Yeah.
What about Alvaro Morata? Because he's one of the names who has been strongly linked for a move away from Chelsea this summer after that first season at Stamford Bridge. I think it'd be harsh to say it's a flop, but it wasn't exactly a success either.
No, a flop is probably slightly too harsh a word, but it's not far short of that. It wasn't a good season, and I just feel that he isn't the right man to lead the line for Chelsea. We've been so blessed at the strikers that we've had at our club. I've been so fortunate to see the brilliance of Didier Drogba and the sheer determination of Diego Costa and the ruthless goal scoring of both of them. Alvaro Morata does not have any of those traits. Right. And if we're going to play a system where you play it up to the front man and you allow people around him to get in around him and flourish, he isn't that man.
So you wouldn't be sad to necessarily see him go?
I would wish him well, but I wouldn't be sad to see him go.
Okay. In terms of other potential outgoings, then. What about in midfield? CESC Fabregas, I think maybe he's come to the end of his time at the club?
We could have a chat here for about half an hour on this conversation alone. I think our midfield is really in need of replenishments. I think CESC Fabregas won't play, he won't be a starter for Chelsea ever again.
Be a squad player at best.
At best. Equally in the same position, we have Danny Drinkwater, who probably needs a new challenge both for him and for the club. I think Bakayoko deserves another season.
Wow,
but it didn't go very well. I think Bakayoko certainly deserves another season. We need to see if he can become the man that we saw dominating games for Monaco. But, I mean, a lot of people forget this, but Ross Barkley's still at the club. Yeah.
In terms of forwards, Willian is a name who keeps being linked to a move away, specifically to Manchester United. I mean, how do you feel about the Brazilian? Would you want to see him go?
Do you know what, I get lots of grief. On the Chelsea channel that I do, I get loads of grief regarding Willian. In fact, I'll be interested to see how your viewers react to this. I think Willian's a really good player. Yeah. I like him. I think he contributes massively to the team. I think he's a very good player. Our audience, not on board. No, not on board is the lightest way to put it.
He seems like quite a dynamic player. Obviously, he offers that danger in the final third. He can create something out of nothing. Is it consistency that's lacking? What is it?
I think the two things that you could level at him, the two criticisms that you could level at him are that he's profligate. He gets into situations and will often just knock the ball, wrong pass, wrong choice. Right. And consistency.
So if you could potentially sell him for 30, 40, 50 million, a majority of Chelsea fans might be on board with that, perhaps not yourself, but...
I think a lot of people would happily take that sort of sum. I think, can I dream for a moment?
Feel free.
The dream is that Manchester United seem to be heavily sniffing around him.
Yeah.
If we can somehow lure Manchester United into parting company with Anthony Martial in order to get Willian from us, that's the dream. Because I think
he's coming to Spurs. So I think
now you're dreaming.
Okay, so we talked about some of the outgoings, potential outgoings. There's a lot there. There's a lot to deal with in terms of outgoings. In terms of incomings, potential signings for Chelsea this summer, they've been linked with Daniele Regani from Juventus, 23 years old. Does that fit for you?
It certainly fits. It's obviously something that we need to consider because our back line, particularly our centre halves, they're ageing. And to get somebody like him in, you know, he's been doing very well at Juventus. He looks very suited to the Premier League, and he's also very good on the ball. So it's everything that we need. And I think the system that Chelsea are hoping to play going forward will be very much knock it out from the back. So he could be a huge component in that. And we certainly need some younger players around the squad, because it's not looking great in terms of, well, as you pointed out, in terms of the over 30s back there. We need some youth coming in, and he could be the man.
What about in terms of midfield then? I mean, young players as well. Christian Pulisic from Borussia Dortmund, the young United States sort of forward midfielder.
Yeah.
Could he fit the bill?
Yeah, well, this is what excites me. This is the one that I've been looking forward to talking about, because do you know why I'm so happy about this?
Go on.
It's the fact that we're even having this conversation. For too long, Chelsea haven't been in this conversation. Manchester City have been outspending us.
Right.
Manchester United have been, you know, because they're a super club, they have been just...
They've got the appeal.
Yeah, exactly, they've got the appeal. And we haven't been in the conversation for the players, the elite players, the way we were 10 years ago.
He's one of those players who's young but has got the potential to potentially become...
And crucially, the eyes of the greats, I mean the great Premier League clubs and the great world clubs actually, are all on him. Everybody, you know, people at Real Madrid are having conversations about him, people at Barcelona are having conversations about him.
I wonder if it's cooled a little bit on him, and that's why there's the opportunity for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. The other reason I think Chelsea are linked is because of our relationship with Dortmund. So Michy Batshuayi, who's our centre forward, is currently there. He did very well. They were very impressed by him. Equally, what I've heard, I have no idea how true this is, but something that I've certainly heard in the Chelsea WhatsApp group that I'm in, is that Borussia Dortmund are very keen on Alvaro Morata. So anything that could potentially pave the way,
Wow, you heard it here first. It was in the Chelsea WhatsApp group, so it must
be
true.
There you go,
Christian Pulisic is coming. This is what deal Morata. If Morata does go, though, not only could Christian Pulisic potentially be part of the deal there, that's the rumour about doing the rounds, but it would leave a gap in the front line for Chelsea for a striker. There's been a couple of names linked. I'm not sure how realistic they are. I'm keen to get your thoughts on it. Robert Lewandowski.
Well,
obviously one of the elite strikers in Europe. 29 years old as it stands. He banged in 29 goals for Bayern Munich last season in 30 appearances on the way to the league title. He's made the noises now that he doesn't want to be in the same league forever. He potentially wants that move away. Real Madrid have been linked. That seems to have cooled a little bit again. Does that open an opportunity for Chelsea to get him?
I really hope so. For me, he is the best number 9 out there, tied with Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is certainly in that mould, and I think next, I think it's irrelevant who you think is better. One, if you have either of those two, you're very blessed. And I think if we could get hold of him, it would be huge for Chelsea. Can you imagine the link-up play between him and Eden Hazard?
I think, he sort of fits the bill in terms of that marquee signing. I wonder whether he'd fit the style that Sarri's potentially going to bring to the club.
But he's a good enough player, though. I think he could amend his style of play.
But you know, would it make more sense if Dries Mertens came to the club? Obviously, the Belgian scored one of the goals at the World Cup.
What about both?
You've got
what about both?
We're in the real world now. We're not dreaming. Dries Mertens, would you like to see him at Chelsea? He brings that pace, brings that flair up front, and he's obviously got that relationship with Sarri.
Yeah, of course. I would love to see him there. He's got the relationship with Sarri, he's got the relationship with Eden Hazard, keen eye for a goal, and I think it's his goal scoring that really makes him so appealing to me. Simply because we don't score enough goals. As a club, we don't score enough goals. Our midfield, N'Golo Kante is, for me, the best midfielder in the Premier League. But he doesn't score any goals. CESC Fabregas isn't the best midfielder in the Premier League, and he doesn't score enough goals. The time when Chelsea was so dangerous, when we were due to be winning every game that we played, it was due to this ruthless and aggressive and so many goal-hungry midfield that you had Michael Ballack, you had Frank Lampard, and you had Michael Essien. Those three would contribute 60 goals. And it made you such a threat, and it made the life of the centre forward so much easier, because he could rely on them. They'd be taking markers away, and then therefore the striker scores more goals. The whole team have an easier life when the midfield are contributing goals. At the moment, we do not have that. So to get somebody like Mertens in, who loves scoring goals, great goals as well, would just be a dream come true.
Do you think Chelsea can compete for elite players, marquee players like that anymore? Don't have the spending power of City, maybe don't have the pull of Manchester United either. It feels like Chelsea can't, they're not quite at that level.
No, we're not. We're not the club that we were 10 to 15 years ago. And we're also not the prospect from a player's perspective that Manchester City are.
No Champions League football now.
No Champions League football. No new stadium, which
Yeah.
I'm pleased about, but you know I understand why people wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think looking at it, if you're Dybala, if you're Lewandowski, who has a choice of any club in Europe, if you're making this choice based upon simply what's on the surface, prospects,
future.
I do see the issue. However, let's not underestimate the pulling power of Chelsea Football Club. It's still a footballing powerhouse. It's still living in London. It's still earning a fortune. It's still playing with Eden Hazard.
I can see the appeal.
There is, of course, just like any London Premier League club, there is a huge draw. So I don't quite think that it's out of our league.
Yeah.
But I concede nowadays that we have a fight on our hands.
Finally, then, Sarri potentially got a lot on his plate, obviously, and not much time to overhaul this squad. How are you feeling about the transfer window overall? Apprehensive, pessimistic?
Do you know it's got to the stage, Ed, where I just don't know, because we're in such a quandary. It's got to the point where, you know, the players who aren't away on World Cup duty, they're back on the 9th. So they're back training, potentially with Antonio Conte. So I just don't know. I think that this summer is one of the biggest summers that Chelsea Football Club have ever had, certainly Premier League era. If we get it wrong, that would be 2 consecutive years out of the Champions League. Perhaps a season, no trophies. It becomes a real problem. Get it right, you're challenging again. You're back in the Champions League, potentially winning silverware. Everything's rosy.
I get the impression the constant upheaval at Chelsea is you're starting to see the effects of that long term in terms of the transfer policy, in terms of the squad they've got. But,
and I think Anglo-Russian. It's a problem. I think that's
a whole discussion another time.
Yeah.
But guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. How are Chelsea going to do in this transfer window? Is Sarri going to be able to overhaul this squad and compete again at the top of the Premier League? Let us know what you think. For now, though, Rory, thanks so much for joining us. Where can the viewers find more of you?
I'm on CFC Fan TV.
Guys, go and check out. Link is in the description below, and we'll see you next time on